Why do hardworking employees get ignored? Why do politics decide your worth? Let's talk about it. Welcome to Bad Influencer. Hit subscribe.
An executive walks into a manager's office and hands in their resignation. Leadership is shocked. To them, losing a top performer feels completely abrupt. But that resignation letter is actually a lagging indicator. It is the final, visible result of a quiet withdrawal that started months ago. When companies treat turnover as an unpredictable shock, they miss the underlying mechanics driving their strongest people away. They fail to examine their own structural flaws. This illustrates the financial penalty of turnover. Replacing a standard frontline worker costs an organization roughly 40% of their annual salary. When a company loses a leadership role, that penalty scales rapidly, reaching up to 200% of their annual salary. Those direct recruitment costs are paired with a much larger secondary bleed. The organization immediately loses institutional expertise, team innovation stalls, and turnover damages the external reputation. When a company is forced to spend double an executive salary just to fill a gap, the focus shifts from growth and innovation to a constant state of operational recovery. To understand why these exits happen, we have to look back at the initial point of disengagement. Often, it begins when an employee's career pathway goes dark. Organizations frequently rely on closed-door succession planning and unwritten promotion criteria. Employees quickly realize that meeting objective performance goals is not enough to advance. We can see this clearly in the private banking sector in Bangalore. Studies of the workforce there show that opaque promotion policies, combined with high stress and salary volatility, are primary drivers of their elevated attrition rates. When the criteria for success become ambiguous, trust erodes. The employee's immediate psychological response is to quietly pull back their discretionary effort. If the path upward is hidden, the strongest performers will stop trying to climb and start looking for the exit. This opacity is often paired with a system that openly rewards visibility. Many legacy organizations operate on proximity bias, equating physical presence with value. They use grueling, high-profile projects as a litmus test for leadership potential. Employees who volunteer are expected to work evenings and weekends to prove their commitment. These extreme assignments do not actually measure efficiency or capability. Instead, they act as a burnout filter that actively punishes employees with caregiving responsibilities and pushes out diverse talent. The demand for constant availability creates a strict structural barrier for anyone who cannot trade their personal time for corporate visibility. Confusing physical exhaustion with dedication actively drains the leadership pipeline of qualified talent and destabilizes overall workforce performance. To fix this, organizations must rethink how they diagnose workforce health. Currently, most rely almost entirely on lagging indicators, like quarterly turnover reports. By the time an employee's departure appears on a spreadsheet, the underlying drivers of their exit have been festering unaddressed for months. The alternative is to track leading indicators. This means measuring workload sustainability, assessing collaboration overload, and looking for early signs of declining engagement. This friction often peaks when organizations issue rigid return-to-office mandates. For senior talent who have restructured their professional lives around hybrid flexibility, a sudden loss of autonomy becomes the final reason to leave. Organizations have to shift their diagnostic focus from the exit interview to the daily employee experience to stop the resignation process before it starts. This diagram illustrates the architecture of a modernized retention framework, replacing legacy systems with transparent structures. At the top, objective promotion criteria and skill-building programs satisfy the need for career growth. In the middle, well-designed hybrid work models satisfy work-life balance, reducing resignations by 1/3. For developing high-potential talent, companies are shifting to the 70-20-10 learning model. Instead of formal classroom training, they provide experiential stretch assignments that accelerate real-world leadership development. Building this system means shifting toward a structure where development and balance are predictable, everyday outcomes, rather than rewards extracted during a tense salary negotiation. The organizations that successfully retain their best people do so because their internal architecture is engineered to reward performance with both growth and long-term sustainability.